Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be giving some summer book recommendations while sitting outside. It is an absolutely beautiful day, so I thought why not take advantage of this gorgeous weather and do a recommendations video in my backyard. I have some iced tea here, I have my picnic blanket and my puppy right next to me, though he's not on the screen right now. And we are going to get started. I have so many amazing book recommendations to share with you. I do want to give a quick brief apology. Because we are outside, you will hear some nature ambiance, some birds chirping, as I'm sure you can already hear, bugs, cars passing by, dogs barking, so I apologize in advance for any of that. And we probably will have one or two helicopters going overhead because I'm in a location where helicopters pass over on their way to somewhere else, so I'd like to excuse all of that right now. But yeah, we're just gonna get started with the fantasy books I'm going to recommend today. The first fantasy book I'm going to recommend for summer is Fable by Adrienne Young. Fable follows a girl named Fable who is the 17-year-old daughter of one of the most notorious and powerful traders in this country called the Narrows. So there are a bunch of different islands that are kept apart by these vast, unforgiving seas, and the seas are called the Narrows. Fable has only ever known the ocean as her home, but after watching her mother drown in a terrible storm, Fable's father deposits her on a remote island that is filled to the brim with thieves and criminals. She has to use the abilities that her mother taught her all her life in order to escape the island, find her father, and claim her birthright. To me, Fable is perfect for the summer because I just think any book that has the setting on the ocean or beaches is very summery. You have multiple islands, you have treasure hunts, you have a girl trying to survive the harsh realities of life on the ocean, and I think those are all themes that fit really well with the summer season. I love Fable. She's such a strong character who is determined to get what she wants at any cost. And it's just such a unique story. It's a unique take on this pirate ocean-faring trope, and it's one I think is done really, really well. Sticking with the ocean theme, the next book I have here for a fantasy recommendation is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. Daughter of the Pirate King follows Princess Alosa, who is the daughter of the Pirate King, when she purposefully gets herself kidnapped aboard this ship called the Nightfarer in order to look for this piece of a lost treasure map. I'm so sorry, I have two dogs running around me literally right now. Hi! You're so weird. But in order to get this lost piece of the treasure map, Alosa must first convince the first mate on this ship named Ryder to help her, and that may involve using a little bit of trickery. This is also just such a good pirate fantasy book. One thing I really like about this book is how fast-paced it is and how we have a female pirate at the center of the story. I mean, the blurb on the cover even says, "Readers should rejoice because we now have a Lady Jack Sparrow on our hands." So if you are a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, any pirate movie really, then I highly recommend Daughter of the Pirate King. Moving away from the ocean and to the desert, the next book I have to recommend for you guys for fantasy is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. We Hunt the Flame follows Zafira, who is a legendary huntress who disguises herself as a man in order to hunt food to feed her villages, because in the place where she lives, women are very restricted in what they can and can't do. The story also follows the crown prince named Nasir, who is essentially an assassin at the behest of his father, who is ruthless and cruel leader of his kingdoms, and he basically kills anyone his father says to. After a strange encounter in the forest, Zafira is then led on this mysterious quest to the desert in order to find the lost key to restoring the magic of the kingdom, because the land that they are living in is dying. But Nasir is also sent on this quest, but with a very different mission: to find the hunter, who is Zafira, and kill her and take the lost magic for himself. What I really like about this book is that you have two main characters with opposing objectives, and essentially their missions are to counteract the other, but they each don't know that the other is on that mission, if that makes sense. This is such a beautifully inspired Arabian fantasy, and it takes place in the desert, so you have that hot summer sun right with you as you are reading it, and it's just such a wonderful adventure. This is the first book in a duology, and I have not read the second book yet. I am hoping to get to it this summer, but yeah, I absolutely adore We Hunt the Flame, and I think that you will probably as well. I swear to God, the second I stepped outside, my entire hair just like poofed up because of the humidity. Oh my God. I'm drinking some iced tea right now because it is so hot. It is the peach iced tea from David's Tea, and it is delicious. Next up, we have a fantasy book that I've talked a lot about on my channel. I absolutely adore it, and that would be These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I don't know if you can see the dog right there walking by. My dog is having a play date, and they are being absolute menaces. Back to These Hollow Vows. This story follows Abriella, who is determined to free her sister after her sister has been kidnapped by the Unseelie King. And in order to retrieve her sister, the Unseelie King gives her a mission that she has to sneak into the Seelie court and steal 3 magical objects for him. But as she goes about trying to complete this quest, her feelings for the Prince of the Seelie get in the way. This was just such a cool fantasy. It is perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas, which I think is fun to read all year around. You have a love triangle, which usually I don't like, but I actually did not mind it in this book. You have family bonds, 2 sisters who are just trying to get back to each other. You have love, intrigue, romance, politics. It's kind of like another fantastical version of The Selection, but better. And I just cannot stress how amazing this book is. And another reason you should read it this summer is because the second book in this duology, so the final book, is actually coming out in a few weeks. So definitely hop on the bandwagon now, read this book, and yeah, you're just gonna love it, I promise. The final fantasy recommendation I have, you guys, couldn't not be included. It is an absolute summer staple in my... I told you guys we'd have some ambiance. I told you guys. I think they're done. Okay. As I was saying, I don't think that any recommendations list would be complete without Percy Jackson. There is literally something for all ages within this book, and I think a wide range of people would enjoy it. I love the mythology of the Greek gods, so that really appeals to me with this book. And I also love that it is set at a summer camp. So once again, just perfect for the summertime. For those of you who do not know what Percy Jackson is, first of all, where have you been? This book follows 11-year-old Percy Jackson, who has been having some trouble in school and has trouble focusing, and strange things keep happening around him when he finds out that he is actually the son of a Greek god. And in order to learn about his powers to protect himself from the monsters out there, he is sent to Camp Half-Blood, which is a camp for half mortal, half god-like children, and he goes on a quest to stop Zeus from destroying him because Zeus thinks that Percy has stolen his lightning bolt. That is a very basic summary of the first book. Rick Riordan has really created such an amazing universe around these characters and this world. Once you get started with one, you're going to be sucked into all of them. I really hope that if you haven't read Percy Jackson that you pick it up, and if you want to do a reread, the summer is the perfect time. I usually do my reread of Percy Jackson in the summer, so yeah, I highly recommend it. And what are you doing? Go pick it up. Hi! Want to say hi to the people? He's just gonna sit right here and guard me for a bit. So that is it for my fantasy summer recommendations. Now we are going to move on to my summer romance recommendations. First recommendation I have for you isn't actually a book, it's an author, and that would be Emily Henry. Emily Henry has 3 amazing summer romances out right now, one that actually came out last month, and her books are perfect for the beach or poolside read. First up is Beach Read, which is about 2 writers who escape to the lake for the summer in order to write their current book. The second is People We Meet on Vacation, which is about two friends who have a long-standing tradition of going on summer vacations with each other until they had a falling out. So they decide to take one last vacation to try to repair their friendship, which turns to more. And finally, her newest release is Book Lovers, and it is about a girl and her sister going to this very small town where she runs into her nemesis, who is an editor, while she herself is a literary agent. It's an enemies to lovers, small town romance with unusual heroines, and all three of her books are just such amazing poolside reads. They are perfect for the summer. I cannot stress it enough. So if you haven't checked out Emily Henry, definitely be sure to do so. They are really great romances for the summer. Don't get me wrong, guys, I love nature, but I could do without all the gnats and bugs flying around me right now. The next summer romance read I have here is The Roughest Draft by Austin Siegmund-Broca and Emily Wibberley. This book follows two co-writers, Nathan and Katrina, who are absolutely the darlings of the literary world. They co-wrote this amazing book together, but they had a huge falling out that caused both of them to separate for unknown reasons to the public. But they are under contract to write one more book together, so they set off to Florida to try to write this final book without killing each other. I recently read this book, so it's very fresh in my mind. I absolutely loved this romance. I loved the Florida summer setting, and I love how it had a literary focus on it. Something else that's super cool about this book is that it's about two writers who work together to co-author books, and it is actually written by a co-authoring couple. Austin Siegmund-Broca and Emily Wibberley are actually married, and they wrote this together, and it is just so cute. I highly recommend it. It's a newer release, so not many people have read it yet, but I absolutely adored it, and I highly recommend it to you. So that's it. The next summer romance read I'm going to recommend is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I am super psyched to be recommending this book because on June 1st, which was yesterday for me and a few weeks ago for you guys, Casey McQuiston announced the Amazon Prime adaptation of the show, and we have our two actors who are going to be playing the main characters, which is so exciting. I am so excited for this show to come out. Essentially, Red, White, and Royal Blue tells the story of this alternate future where the first son of the United States, so the son of the president, and the Prince of England, what happens if they really hate each other, but then are forced to spend time together in order to repair both of their families' images and start to feel something more for each other. This is such a sweet book. It is a sweet romance. It has lots of spice in it if you need some spicy romance for your summer. I know I enjoy some spicy romance in my summer, but it is just such a sweet story about two people who are in the public eye trying to navigate a really hard relationship when their family's expectations are essentially telling them not to pursue it, but they choose to follow their heart. I think that this kind of scorching love is perfect for the summertime. It's perfect for Pride Month, and you should definitely read this before it goes on Amazon Prime and everyone's like, oh my god, I have to read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Be ahead of the curve. Read it now. It is so good. The last romance I'm going to recommend to you guys is one that actually takes place in Alaska. So if you're feeling a little too hot this summer and need to cool down, I highly recommend reading The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. You may remember me raving about this book earlier this year. It is still an absolute favorite of mine. I have been recommending it to anyone who says they like romance because this book, it is perfect. I love it so much. I love the characters, the plot, the story, the relationships. So good. Here's what it's about. The Simple Wild follows Calla, who unexpectedly finds herself without a job and learns that her estranged father has cancer on the same day. Since her schedule has suddenly become wide open, she decides to go to Alaska to meet her father, who she has not seen since she was 3 years old, and get to know him before he passes. When Calla gets to Alaska, adjusting to the simple Alaskan rural lifestyle is a pretty hard adjustment for her, but through the help of her pilot, Josh, who works for her father, she is able to see the beauty in the simple lifestyle and the kindness of the Alaskan people. Josh and Calla's relationship story in these books is so precious, but what is even more precious to me is the relationship between Calla and her father. They obviously have not seen each other in years. Calla's father has not made contact. So while a little rocky at first, watching their relationship develop through this book is just so amazing. It's so heartwarming. I was in tears by the end of this book. The romance is great, the friendships are great. There are 2 more books in the series after this. So you really have time to fall in love with Calla and her journey. And it is just such an amazing book. And once again, it does take place in Alaska. So it's just a really good read to cool you off if you spent the whole day in the sun. Finally, I'm going to share 2 graphic novel recommendations for the summer. I unfortunately don't have either of them physically with me because I lent them to my younger sister to read and I cannot find them in her room. So I am going to put the pictures up here with some examples from the artwork because I do think that artistic style is really important when deciding to pick up a graphic novel, because sometimes you really enjoy the graphic design and sometimes you don't. So I'm going to put examples up here. But the first book I'm going to recommend for the summer absolutely should be no surprise to anyone. Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I'm kind of like on a mission this year to see if I can put Heartstopper in every single recommendations video I film. Is that bad? I feel like that's bad. Heartstopper is this precious graphic novel that follows Nick and Charlie, who both go to this all-boys school in England. Charlie is the only openly gay boy at his school, and in his, I think, 10th year, he becomes friends with Nick, who is the captain of the rugby team, and the 2 of them sort of develop this friendship, but Charlie's really crushing hard on Nick, and this graphic novel tells the story of their friendship into something more. There are currently 4 graphic novels out right now. The 5th one is hopefully coming out at some point, I'm praying, and there's a Netflix TV show currently out. So read the graphic novels, watch the show. It's all so precious and beautiful and gives you all the warm, cuddly vibes. So it's just something that I absolutely adore and recommend to everyone I can. The final graphic novel I'm going to recommend to you, and the final book on this list, is The Girl from the Sea by Molly Knox Oxtertag. This is such an adorable middle grade graphic novel. It follows 15-year-old Morgan, who has a secret that she secretly does not love her life on the little island where her and her family live. She is absolutely desperate to finish high school and leave the confines of her life right now. And she feels very cut off from her friends and her family because her biggest secret is that she likes girls and she doesn't know how to tell her friends and her family, and she can't wait to just leave her small community forever. But one night, Morgan is saved from drowning by a mysterious girl named Kelty, and the 2 become fast friends, and suddenly life on her small island seems bearable. But Kelty has some secrets of her own, and as the 2 girls begin to fall in love, everything they both have been trying to hide starts to come to the surface, whether they want it to or not. What I really love about this book and why it's so perfect for summertime is, first of all, the setting, the warm art style, the ocean and the island. It's just absolutely the perfect setting for a summer romance. I love that this book has an emphasis on not only discovering who you are, but also learning to be okay with it and to love and accept yourself for who you are, which is something I think Morgan goes throughout this entire journey. This book is just so beautiful, and it's about such a pure friendship turned romance, and I think will give anyone all the warm and fuzzies while reading. So I highly recommend The Girl from the Sea. And those are all of my summer book recommendations. That was a ton of books, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I loved doing this outside despite the bugs and the birds and the dogs barking. I had a lot of fun just kind of sitting out here with you guys. If you would like this kind of video more often, let me know down in the comments. I would love to do more filming out here. And yeah, be sure to leave any summer recommendations of yours down below so I can check them out and so other people can check them out. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit the notification bell to get updates on when I post. I post every single week. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!